This AGM is being held by proxy in line with the guidelines issued by the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, on holding annual general meetings by proxy. The company has obtained the private approval of the CAC to hold this meeting by proxy and also obtained approval to consider the special business contained in the notice of this AGM. Please note that this meeting is being streamed live on the company's website and YouTube channel. I hereby request that Bishop Akpore to please lead us in the opening prayers. Giving the microphone.
Our God, King of glory, God, heaven and earth. Today is a special. The God in heaven, I invite you as your servant to be with us at this meeting. We will support the management, we will support shareholders. It is your will that must be done today. When I saw our people that started long a time ago, today on this seat, I became very happy. I said, oh, with all the bashing, you made them to be available. God, King glory. Because of that, the meeting of today should not be more than 20 minutes. To show them that we are happy with the management, we are happy with the board. My God, my King, my Maker, therefore, I pronounce it as a man you have given authority that every other thing that will not be in the interest of God shall not survive. The Holy Spirit should take over this hall now so that it is only the will of God that must be done. The power of argument, I destroy it in the name of Jesus. The power to succeed, a successful meeting, perfect meeting that God has hand, that is the one that will succeed today. That the name of God be glorified. Father, we thank you sincerely for all the members of the board and the shareholders. It is
Thank you, Bishop Akpore. I now call on the General Manager, Operations Integrity, Mr. Kayode Boladale, to undertake the safety briefing. Mr. Boladale, please.
Good morning, Chairman, ECE, DGCE, directors, shareholders, and stakeholders. Today, where we are today, we are in the by the waterfront. We do not have any planned drills today, so therefore, if you do hear an alarm or announcement, please evacuate the building from the exit behind you, the exit at the rear, to the front of the building where there's a muster point, and we'll have people who will guide you to the muster point. Also, there's still COVID-19 around, and therefore we are still following the guidelines of NCDC. Therefore, we have provided you with hand sanitizers, and we do deploy you to please try and keep on your mask if you are not speaking for your own safety as well. Therefore, we also have what you call medical facilities If any of you are feeling sick or need, please contact us and we will get you to the medical facilities, and we also have an ambulance as well. The convenience are outside in the left and right outside the lobby, and we have due to where the convenience is. I would like to say thank you and wishing a fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boladale. I will now call on the representative of First Registrars and Investors Services, who are our registrars, to confirm the number of proxies received and the proxy report thereon.
Hello. The chairman, sir. Board of Directors, the good shareholder. We have confirmed we have received the sum of 1,931 Proxy, which is representing about 77.56 of the total shareholding. We now confirm that we have performed the quorum for the meeting. Thank you, sir. We have 1,391. Okay. The unit, I'm talking the can now. Okay, sorry. I gave it a little. Sorry. I gave it to Damola. I give it to 77.56 of the total shareholding. I gave the report earlier. Yeah, I thought it. Sorry, sir. In unit of the Proxy, we have 9,644,695,097 units, representing 77.56 of total shareholding. Meaning that we have confirmed the quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Oni. May I request the Company Secretary, Mr. Ayotola Jagun, to confirm that there is a quorum formed for this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hereby confirm that we have a quorum for this meeting.
Following the confirmation by the Company Secretary that this meeting is properly convened and constituted, I now declare the 43rd Annual General Meeting opened. In compliance with Section 301, subsection 1 and 5A of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, I wish to notify all of you that in addition to the disclosure on page 42 of the annual report, the Register of Directors' shareholdings is available at this meeting for your inspection. Further to the disclosure on page 39 of the annual report, the record of directors' attendance at board meetings held during the year ended 31st December 2019 is available for inspection at this meeting as well. This is in compliance with Section 284, subsection 2 of the CAMA 2020. I will now introduce the directors present at this meeting. On my extreme right is Mr. Ademola Akerele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Next to Mr. Akerele is Mr. Tanimu Yakubu, Independent Non-Executive Director. Next to Mr. Yakubu is Mrs. Ronke Shokefun, who joined the board as an independent non-executive director in December 2021. I welcome her to our first AGM as the director of Oando PLC. Next to Mrs. Shokefun is Mr. Ainoje, Dr. Ainoje Alex Irune. Next to Dr. Irune, our executive director, is Mr. Adiola Ogushemi, Group Chief Finance Officer. Mr. Ogushemi joined the board as an executive director in February 2022. I therefore welcome him to his first AGM as the director of Oando PLC. On my immediate right is the Chief Executive Officer of the company, Mr. Jubril Adewale Tinubu. On my immediate left is Ms. Ayotola Jagun, the Chief Compliance Officer and Company Secretary. Sitting next to Ms. Jagun is Mr. Omamufe Boyo, Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Sitting next to Mr. Boyo is Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede, who joined the board as an independent non-executive director in December 2021. I therefore welcome her to our first AGM as a director of Oando PLC. Sitting to my extreme left is Mr. Ike Osakwe, Independent Non-Executive Director and Chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee. I am Oba Adeotunbi Mbadiwe, the Alaki of Ebaland. I now call on the Company Secretary, Ms. Ayotola Jagun, to introduce other stakeholders present at this meeting. He will thereafter read the notice convening this annual general meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, good morning. Once again, good morning, distinguished shareholders. In our midst today, we have the shareholder members of the Audit Committee seated on the table to my right. They are Mr. David Oluwasegun Oguntoye and Dr. Anthony Omojola. Dr. Joseph Ashaolu is unavoidably absent and sends his sincere apologies. We have Mrs. Esther Ajibola, Audit Engagement Partner representing the external auditor, Ernst & Young. We have Mr. Olubumi Oguntoye. Do we? Well, we have Mr. Ezekiel Oni, representing representatives of First Registrars and Investor Services Limited, our registrars. We have with representatives of the following regulators: Mr. Kelechi Luke of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Bonaventure Omuji, the Nigerian Exchange Regulation Limited. The representative of the Corporate Affairs Commission unfortunately could not be with us, and they give their apologies. I will now introduce the shareholders who have been appointed as proxies to attend this meeting. Sir Sonny Nnamdi Ngosu, KSS. Mr. Patrick Ajudua, Alaji Kabiru A. Tambari, Mrs. Adebisi Oluwayemisi Bakari, Mr. Olusegun Oweye, Chief Timothy Adeshion, Mr. Tunde Badmus, Dr. Farouk Umar, Reverend Dr. G. Akpore, Mr. Gbenga Idowu, Chief J.O. Okelano, Mr. Alex Adio, Mrs. Okeleye Adenike, Mr. Boniface Okezie, Mr. Chibuzo Emmanuel Eke, and Mr. Peter Eyanuku. I will now read the notice of the meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 43rd Annual General Meeting of Oando PLC will be held on Wednesday, August 10, 2022 at 10 a.m. at the Wings Office Complex, 17A Ozumba Mbadiwe Avenue, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria, for the purposes of ordinary business, transacting the following ordinary business. 1.1, to receive the audited financial statements of the company and of the group for the year ended December 31st, 2019, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon. To reappoint Ernst & Young as auditors for the year 2020 and to authorize the directors of the company to fix their remuneration. To elect Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede and Mrs. Ronke Shokefun to the board of directors of the company with effect from December 23rd, 2021 as directors whose term expires in accordance with Article 88 of the Articles of Association of the company, but being eligible offer themselves for election. To elect Adiola Ogunshemi to the board of directors of the company with effect from February 18, 2022 as a director whose term expires in accordance with Article 88 of the Articles of Association of the company, but being eligible offers himself for election. To re-elect the following directors, in accordance with Articles 91 and 93 of the company's Articles of Association, retire by rotation but are eligible and offer themselves for re-election. Mr. Ike Osakwe as a director, Mr. Ademola Akinrele SAN as a director, Dr. Aino J. Alex Irune as a director. Biographical details of directors standing for re-election are available in the annual report and on the company's website at http://www.oandoplc.com. 1.6, to elect members of the audit committee. Special business. Transacting the following special business. Resolution 1, deeming resolution for the 43rd AGM of the company. 2.1, to consider and if approved to pass with or without modification the following ordinary resolution to deem the general meeting at which the 2019 financial statements will be laid before the shareholders and other business of an annual general meeting as the 43rd annual general meeting of the company. It is hereby resolved that the general meeting at which the 2019 financial statements will be laid before the shareholders and other business of an annual general meeting be deemed as the 43rd annual general meeting of the company. To consider and if approved to pass with or without modification the following ordinary resolution to fix the remuneration of the non-executive directors of the company. It is hereby resolved that the fees payable quarterly in arrears remain 5 million per annum for the chairman and 4 million per annum for all other non-executive directors. Resolution 3, mandate authorizing transactions with related parties and interested persons. to consider and, if thought fit, pass with or without modifications the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 20.8 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Stock Exchange 2015, now the Nigerian Exchange, Issuers Rule, a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. Resolution 4, appointment of auditors for the financial year ended 31st December 2021. To appoint Ernst & Young as auditors to carry out the audit of the company for the financial year ended 2021 as directed by the Corporate Affairs Commission, and to authorize the directors of the company to fix their remuneration. Resolution 5, 44th Annual General Meeting. That pursuant to the directive of the Corporate Affairs Commission, the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2020, and December 31, 2021, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon should be laid at a general meeting, which will be deemed to be the 44th annual general meeting of the company. 6 July 2022 by the order of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Company Secretary and Chief Compliance Officer. I believe you have all read the chairman's statement on page 14 and page 15 of the 2019 annual report. I will not require to read if you say so. Thank you. As we proceed with the meeting, any member who wishes to speak on any of the items on the agenda, to please indicate by raising his hand. When you are called, kindly walk towards the dedicated microphone and make your statement or ask your questions. The one that is closest to you is the one you should please use. The first item for consideration at this meeting is the presentation of the audited financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2019. At this point, I will call on the representative of the external auditors, Messrs. Ernst & Young, Mrs. Esther Ajibola, to read the auditor's report.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, distinguished shareholders. The audit opinion you will see from page 59 of the annual report. Independent auditor's report to the members of Oando PLC. Report on the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements. Opinion. We have audited the consolidated and separate financial statements of Oando PLC, the company, and its subsidiaries, together the group, which comprise the statements and the consolidated and separate statements of financial position as at 31 December 2019, and the consolidated and separate statements of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Consolidated and separate statements of changes in equity, and consolidated and separate statements of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the consolidated and separate financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the accompanying consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of the group and the company as at 31 December 2019, and the consolidated and separate financial performance and consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C-20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and in compliance with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act number 6, 2011. This is followed by a basis for opinion. Here we have indicated that we are independent and we have complied with all ethical requirements. Followed by emphasis of matter, utilization of our Flexim loan. We draw attention to note 38, which indicates that Oando Oil Limited, OOL, a subsidiary of Oando PLC, obtained a loan of $425 million from Afrexim Bank during the year. OOL utilized the loan to partially settle Ansbury Investment Inc. on behalf of Whitmore Asset Management Limited. Ansbury, Whitmore, OODP BVI, and OODP Nigeria entered into a settlement deed for a total sum of $550 million due from Whitmore to Ansbury. In respect of the partial settlement on behalf of Whitmore, OOL recorded a receivable of $438.1 million, equivalent of 159.6 billion naira from Whitmore, representing total amount disbursed, inclusive of transaction costs. Management performed impairment assessment on the receivable and fully impaired the amount in the consolidated statement of profit or loss. Subsequent to year-end, upon field settlement of the indebtedness of Whitmore to Ansbury, Ansbury transferred shares in OODP BVI to Whitmore, thereby making Whitmore the sole owner of OODP BVI. Consequently, the Group Chief Executive and the Deputy Group Chief Executive of Oando PLC, the owners of Whitmore, have become the ultimate owners of the 57.37% of Oando PLC. Our opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. This is followed by material uncertainty related to going concern, and we draw attention to note 45 of the consolidated and separate financial statements, which indicate that the company recorded total comprehensive loss for the year ended 31 December 2019 of 63.2 billion naira. In 2018, it was 18.3 billion naira. And as at that date, its current liabilities exceeded current assets by 163.2 billion naira. The company also reported net liabilities of 128.8 billion naira. In 2018, that was 60.9 billion. The group recorded total comprehensive loss for the year ended 31 December 2019 of 200.6 billion naira. In 2018, it was income of 38.1 billion. And as at that date, its current liabilities exceeded current assets by 432.8 billion naira. In 2018, it was net current liability of 318.5 billion naira. The entity continues to incur losses, and reversal of this is dependent on successful actions to raise capital, to pay down the significant debt levels, and through achievement of revenue forecast. As stated in the note, these conditions, along with other matters, indicate the existence of a material uncertainty that may cast significant doubt on the company and the group's ability to continue as a going concern, and therefore may be unable to realize its assets and settle its liabilities in the ordinary course of business. Our opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. This is followed by key audit matters. We have described the key audit matters, how the matters were addressed during the audit. Followed by other information. We have reviewed the other information. We do not have any issue to report thereof. Responsibility of the directors for the consolidated and separate financial statements. The directors are responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the consolidated and separate financial statements in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C-20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and in compliance with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act number 6, 2011, and for such internal control as the directors determine is necessary to enable the preparation of the consolidated and separate financial statements that are free from material misstatement due to fraud or error. This is followed by our responsibility as auditors. And then I will take the report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the requirements of Schedule 6 of the Companies and Allied Matter Act, Cap C20 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, we confirm that 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audits. 2, in our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the group and company insofar as it appears from our examination of those books. 3, the consolidated and separate statement of financial position and the consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. And 4, in our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statement have been prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, so as to give a true and fair view of the state of affairs and financial performance of the company and its subsidiaries. Signed by Esther Ajibola, FCA, representing Ernst & Young, Lagos, Nigeria, on the 1st of June, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ajibola. The chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee, Mr. Ike Osakwe, will now present the report of the Audit Committee for the year ended 31st December 2019. The report is on page 49 of the annual report. Just press.
Thank you. We have exercised our statutory functions in compliance with Companies and Allied Matters Act, and we, the members of the Oando PLC Audit Committee, have, on the documents and information made available to us, A, review the scope and planning of the audit requirements and found them satisfactory. B, review the external auditor's management controls reports for the year ended 31st December 2019, as well as the management response thereto. C, appraised the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019 and are satisfied with the explanations provided. We ascertain that the accounting and reporting policies of the company for the year ended 31st December 2019 are in accordance with legal and agreed ethical practices. Dated this first day of June 2022. Ike Osakwe, Chairman of the Committee. The other members of the committee are myself, Alhaji Bukagoni Aji, Non-Executive Director, Mr. Mobolaji Ososanya, Non-Executive Director, Mr. Tanimu Yakubu, Non-Executive Director, Dr. Joseph Ashaolu, Shareholder, Mr. Shagun Oguntoye, Shareholder, Dr. Anthony Omojala, Shareholder. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osakwe. I hereby formally lay before you the audited financial statements of the year ended December 31st, 2019, together with the report of the directors from page 35 to page 49 of the annual report, and the report of the auditors on pages 59 to 62 of the same report, copies of which have been made available to you. We'll take questions from all of you on the accounts, please. Also on the operations of the company, if you have questions. If the questions are based on the contents of the annual report, please refer to the relevant page of the report for ease of reference.
Good morning, the chairman of the board of Oando PLC, KBSU, the group chief executive officer, Mr. Wale, the other members of the board, the regulators here present, my fellow shareholder, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I say good morning to all. Mr. Chairman, this is the second meeting we are having after the settlement with SEC. And I believe that, to me, 2019 account is more historical. It has gone, a long while. So as shareholders, we'll be requesting that you give us financial updates of the company as at present. This is more beneficial to us so that we know how the company is faring. Also, I would like to say a very, very big congratulations to the CEO, Mr. Wale, on his occasion of his birthday, which was done around June, although we are not present. I want to wish you more long life and more strength and more enablement from God. Also, I would like to commend the appointment of Mrs. Ronke Sokefu, the chairman, who is also the chairman, I think, of the board of NDIC, as an independent non-executive director. We commend the appointment, knowing fully well that she will bring to bear her experience as a two-time commissioner in Ogun State under the administration of Senator Ibikunle Amosu, and as a former employee of Mr. Igodolo and Associates. She has worked as in the group legal officer of the Oando till 2011. So her coming on board is welcome, and we thank God that you accepted the appointment. May God bless you, ma'am. I also want to commend the appointment of Mrs. Nana Fatima Mende as an independent non-executive director, a former permanent secretary, and now a technical consultant to the Honorable Minister. We welcome you, madam. We ask that your coming on board too will bring value to us. We commend the retiring directors, and we also wish them a farewell in their future endeavor. The group CEO, I'm a little bit worried about the issue of oil theft. Oil theft has become a very serious issue in Nigeria today. And this implies that the country is losing so much money via this issue. According to your speech of recent, of the nation. Mr. Chairman, this issue is something I would like to know what the board is doing, because not only Mr. Wale that is talking about, the other stakeholders, Mr. Tony Lumelu, Mr. Austin Avuru, have all said that over 80 to 90% of production is being stolen daily. And that itself is not good. Knowing fully well that we are paying tax, what is government doing in terms of securing this pipeline? You have profiled solution, DGMD, and one of those things you said is the implementation of sabotage detection technology, on-ground and area surveillance, and community policing. What are you doing to work with government and ensure a full implementation of all this? We also commend the approach by NEMASA in deploying aircraft to watch this oil theft. I believe that when all stakeholders put their interests together, we are going to check this nefarious activity of oil theft. Because if you are producing and 90% is going away, what is left for us is nothing. And of course, that may make it difficult for us to sustain our operation. I also commend the company for the launch of electric mass transit buses in Lagos, the first of its kind. Via an MOU with Lamata, Oando Clean Energy have no doubt shown its commitment to cutting-edge green gas emission by replacing it with a cleaner source of energy. So we commend you. On a final note, I want to take you to page 15 of this report, because I said it's historical, and what we'll be looking at is what are we doing at present to correct certain things that we have seen in the account. I want to commend the diversification of interest in the midstream business and focusing on the dollar earning upstream and trading business. This no doubt have resulted into significant gas and condensate discovery, which have amounted to more than a trillion naira cubic feet of gas and 60 million barrels of condensate. But my question to you is, what is the implication of this discovery? Again, what is the implication of this discovery in future income generation for the company, and also the need to return to profitability from our loss position? And talking about our loss position is in the account, and that's page 63. We will see that two items are of concern to us: the impairment on non-fixed assets and impairment again on assets. These two items, along with our borrowing, really cause a little bit of concern. So we'll be looking forward to a greater answer from you. I want to thank you, and I want to assure you of our continued support for Oando, that once we are able to address this lingering issue of oil theft, we'll be able to enjoy the fruit of our labor. God bless you, the chairman, members of the board, and my fellow shareholder. Thank you very much.
My respected chairman of the board, Kabiyesi, His Royal Majesty Oba Adedotun Omokirewu Jigi. Kabiyesi, good morning, sir. I am Sir Olatunde Okelana, Balogun Olugban of Orile Igban in Oyo State, Justice of Peace in Oyo State, a criminal justice expert and a security consultant. My chairman, I am very delighted to be here this morning, and I want to start on a memory lane. In year 2000, when we came on board with a Jeep and Unipetrol, and later we metamorphosed and changed the name to Oando. I was at the beginning. I was with you. Having said that, my chairman, we don't have any problem with Oando as shareholders. And we are very comfortable with your person as the chairman, having been my boss in Nigerian Army for many years. I know you quite well. I also served the military for 35 years, and I retired meritoriously without blemish. I am a security expert, my dear chairman. Any country that economizes on security is doing itself. And I want to advise ourselves as ordinary Nigerians and as a corporate body, we should spend more on security because we are losing more. We should not depend on human capability to fight insecurity in this country, especially theft of our property. We are losing a lot as shareholders. The core investor, I pity them the most. I'm a retail shareholder. But having said that, my chairman, we need to holistically advise the federal government at this juncture to do something for us. We are suffering unless we are deceiving ourselves. I don't want to discuss politics. I want to discuss security. And security is a business of every Nigerian that has something to think upstairs. And I want to be very frank that the federal government should come to the head of Nigerians. In the sense that the body language of the federal government, we should be able to find a solution to it so that the security of life and property in our own business should be taken good care of. It's very, very important. Come to the Oando, the people that manage this business in the last 22 years that we've been with them. We are very comfortable. And that marriage has been a very fruitful marriage that have many children. And any marriage that has been successful for 10 years, as a marriage counselor, you will know that that marriage will survive. It has survived for 22 years. We don't want to let go. We are not ready to let go of this marriage. We are not ready for divorce or whatever language you want to use. We are very comfortable with you. You have people that matters on this board, people that we can talk to anytime need be, like Wale. Wale has been a very fantastic human being, and it's a blessing to all of us. I don't know for any other person. It's a blessing to me and my family because he's a good friend. Having known him from his father in Ilupeju, where Alaji lives, may his soul continue to rest in peace. May the soul of the AIG continue to rest in peace. So I want to say to all shareholders, we should all brace up and come together as a family. Oando has been facing a lot of challenges for the past 4 years. And we are almost, underline that word, almost out of the wood. We'll be out of the wood by the grace of God. Because when you have a company that is more diversified, a company that has the interests of the shareholders at heart. It's not the only oil company in this country. I was a panel member of National Oil. The way they are treating us there is not the same way Oando is treating us. Please give them a very round of applause. I am saying this because I've been in the corporate market for the past 30-something years, and I know the difference. Kabiesi, you are leading a very good and cohesive board. And may God continue to give you the wisdom to do the right thing. Everybody cannot look at the annual reports from one page to another page. It's historical. The operations, we know everything that is going on. According to my brother, he has said he has hammered the nail on the head. What we need in this country is for God to protect all of us, improve our security, and the government to do something about it. We have to make sure we are not losing what we are losing. It's not the best for us. Having said that, I want to thank the board and management and the opportunity given to me this morning. But I will not sit down without mentioning somebody as part of cohesion. The first registrar that we have today, there's one particular man I want to single out. His name is Olubunmi Oguntoye. He's always there for us. Please give him a very round of applause. When you are talking of registrar, it's a name, but there are people that are working there, people that attend to us on a daily basis as shareholder. Please, it's representing the interests of the company and that of the shareholder very well. And I know by the grace of God, Oando will continue to grow from strength to strength. We are not ready to part with Wale Tinubu or my Kabiesi or Omamofe, a very nice golfer. We are not ready to part with you. We are not ready. That marriage cannot end. By the grace of God, God will continue to give you the wisdom. Private placement or public offer is not the issue. We want us to know that we love you, and God will continue to be with you, and God will give you all the necessary thing to do for us. And I welcome all the new directors on board. God bless all the shareholders. God bless all of us all. And I pray everybody's journey mercy back to their various places. Thank you once more, my chairman, for giving me the opportunity. God bless you.
The chairman other members of the board, very distinguished fellow shareholders. My name is Nona Au. Mr. Chairman, I want to join the earlier speakers first in standing on the existing protocol, but much more importantly, to also make my position on the note of the future. Because like it's been rightly said, this is 2019 account, which means that 2020-22 is already at halftime. So dwelling on the financials of 2019, for me, will be a waste of time exercise. But since Bishop Akbore said we should spend 20 minutes, and laying the account alone took us almost 44 minutes, I would think that Bishop Akbore needs to use a made in Ukraine watch so that we can. But Mr. Chairman, talking seriously to the account, to the report rather, there are lessons to be learned from some of the things that have been presented here. But let me share with you that before I looked at this account, I looked at 2007 account, and I read the current MD's position in 2007. So that itself is guiding me as to what direction I should be asking the company to look at. The first one is that for the people who wrote this, who wrote the chairman's statement and part of the CEO's statement, they were already looking into the future. Because if you look at this account on page 14, 15, and 17, you will find that they were already talking about position in 2020 in a 2019 account. So I'm waiting to see what they are going to write in 2020 and 2021 account, since they've already told us about 2020. Even in one instance, 2021 position was also mentioned. That is usually the case when you have these delays like we've had. But being an optimist, I will be asking that going forward, because if we don't learn from the mistakes of yesterday, the chances that such mistakes are repeated in future, and very many times those mistakes can be costly. On page 30 to 34, I took time to look at the profile, just like it's been done in previous years. But I then found on page 32 that 2 of the directors left after they have spent 12 years. So the question is, do we have a policy around tenure as a board? You are not likely to find anything around the structure and the funding of the foundation. Even if all we do is to put 1 naira in that foundation, it's important that the other shareholders will have a full understanding of what the foundation is doing. So I'm hoping that by the time we'll be meeting, hopefully before the end of the year, that issue also will have been fully addressed. So we can also understand. But on page 51 of that account, I am not sure of what I found there. He talked about EAC in Qatar, and I know Qatar is in the Middle East. So how does that affect our foundation? Do we have a leg or arm in Qatar as part of the foundation? I would be interested as to why that is so. Also going forward, I heard a member of the board read the audit report as the chairman of the audit report. Yes, I know that in some jurisdiction, that is not a challenge. But it becomes a challenge when the member who is the chairman of that committee is also a member of the finance committee. There's a conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest is not that because an harm has been done, but you are in the full know of what the finance of the company is, and then you come to preside over what the shareholders are expected to also look at. So going forward is something that the board needs to look at so we don't run into that conflict. Furthermore, if you look at page 175 and 177, for 5 straight years now we have made losses. But if you look at page 177, for 8 years we haven't had cause to pay dividends. But if you then last 8 years don't also lose their money to us because they've not been able to collect those dividends. For me, this is critical. Lastly, is to say that I will not be asking you to give us a report as to how far we have done, because I don't think any of those reports has been released to the regulators or the SRO, which happens to be the NGX in this instance. But I think that given what we have seen and read on page 59 and 143 around the loan, the dollar-denominated loan, the growing concern basis, and the borrowing, that the executive, with the permission of the chairman, should be able to tell us, where possible, graphic details of what we are hoping to do and what we have done. And the reason I ask that is there's been some, they want to delist. Because even if we are going to go the route of delist, I can tell you that that will not be your long-term interest. But even given this account, I'll be hoping that if you are going to do a delist and you'll be coming to us before the end of this year, you're not going to pay us anything less than 35 Naira, given the basis of this account. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak, but please do remember, Oando did exist before you came, and it's important that you do everything humanly possible to make sure that Oando exists even after you will have gone. Why? Because a number of persons have looked at Oando and said, these young boys, these young men, it's important that the young men don't also add to the burden of a country that is looking at old men for non-performance. I want to thank you once again for the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulatory authorities here present this morning, my co-shareholders, good morning. My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi. First and foremost, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate the board, management, and staff of our great company for the opportunity given to me to be part of today's meeting. Having said that, I will go straight to the annual report and accounts. That is on page 59. Independent Auditors Report. I want to ask from our great board that what is being done to address the external auditors' report of material uncertainty related to going concern, whereby our current liabilities exceeded current assets. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask that what is the latest position of our current assets and current liabilities? Because the account we are discussing this morning, it is as at 31st December 2019. So I would like to know the current position as at today. Page 118. Administrative note B, 10B, administrative expenses. I think I need clarification on one item here, where we have dividend receivable forfeiture amounted to 2.2 billion. Dividend receivable forfeiture, 2.2 billion. I need a clarification. I want to ask from CFO, is it dividend over 12 years that has become statutory bad, that is dividend receivable forfeiture? I think we need explanation for that, 2.2 billion. Lastly, page 12. Page 12, under notice of annual general meeting, resolution 5. I just want to advise our board that after giving approval on this resolution 5, that is 44th annual general meeting, that after today's approval, I want the board to go back and make sure that we hold our AGM for the year ended December 31, 2020 and December 31, 2031 without further delay. If possible, within 4 months, before end of this year, we should have our AGM so that we'll know that we don't have any AGM outstanding, so that we can start on a clean slate by 2022. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank the board once again for the opportunity given to me. God bless you all.
The chairman for Oando PLC KBC, our directors, our great company, fellow distinguished shareholder, good morning. My name is Okezia Boniface. Mr. Chairman, like I always said, 2019 has been a long year. 21, 22. Mr. Chairman, historical account. We should be talking, addressing, and hearing from the board and management the measure put in place to address the issue of growing concern of our great company. That's most foremost. We can't begin to read figures here because in 2017, SEC brought their brouhaha into the company investigating. These are accounted because it's distractions. And that's why the saying that goes, when two elephants fight, the grass will suffer for it. But I thank the board and management for their boldness, for their resilience. If the fight would have continued, maybe by now, Oando would have gone into extinction, but God forbid. That's the wisdom deployed by the board and management to tackle this issue. And that also informed the shareholders must speak out when this matters. Regulators, the way they are going today, are not friendly with investors. They are killing companies. in Nigeria. And that is what the problem that leadership is bringing up in Nigeria. People are talking about security. I know you pay levy to regulators that are regulating the oil and gas industry. In matter of pipeline protections, we pay heavy levy contributions. You pay the police, you contribute through the social corporate responsibilities. But at the same time, you provide private securities. But you cannot police the pipeline. That's a government duty. We have the Air Force and Navy. What are they doing? The ordinary man, ordinary shareholder sitting here, cannot go today to bust pipe to thief oil. It is the middle class, the big guys, the top shot, the oil cartel that does that. And the government have not found solution to this. It affects. If every company that quoted an agent to start delisting, the economy will be down. And we hold investors. They will create room for portfolio investors to come in and take over the assets of Nigerians. Our government is not helping us. Saudi Arabia have oil. Qatar have oil. Russia have oil. Even America have oil. We are not seeing the kind of theft over there that what we are seeing here today. And the oil are going 2018 thereabout, 2019. We did nothing virtually because of the COVID. Everyone was sitting at home. The oil was not selling. I think it was $7 per barrel. So nobody was buying. America, who is a heavy consumers, everybody was sitting at home. Nobody's buying. But at 2021, when things were looking up, would I say yes to $7 and making up, people are thieving. And when you produce, the most things have gone. Cost of production is high. Because the cost of doing business in Nigeria is high. Mr. Chairman, I pity the companies in Nigeria. We can come here and criticize and do they don't do that, But people who ought to have protected the company, have they done what they expected them to do? Before you apportion blame that management have failed. They have not put anything in place. That's where we are today, Mr. Chairman. I sympathize with the management, but I know there must be a way out. If you put right in place, there must be a way out. The management need to tell us the area they have addressed these issues. Because for past 3 years now, we should be able to make progress with the current account that ended last year. We should be able to brief us where we are and where we're going. I believe that when Oando acquired the Ajip and all, etc., merged together, they have done very well in putting this company in place and become a giant today. And the same management will also navigate the present problem and come out stronger and to show for the years we're here for business. And that's the position we are today. God willing, they will also surmount that problem. It's surmountable. There's nothing would take Oando have established and have a fame. It's a good brand that people love, even in West Africa, all over there, where they are doing business. We want them to continue to this present board to outlive them. That's the sense of a company. It is not today you die tomorrow. No. This company must outlive each and every one of us and still stand for generations to come. That's how Yibo run their company. And our own will not be a different one. That's what we believe. And we know the management are capable. I want to commend the new board members who appointed. Dr. Noje, these young guys. I think we are looking at him. They are going to contribute with the GMD to support him to lead the company to greater height. I know that come to whatever, the next annual general meeting, the report will look better than what we are seeing today. By the grace of God. I want to ask that the unclaimed dividend was in there, that money also have reverted back to the company, so that Abuja does not take any cover that accrue for the companies. We must make sure for that. It's necessary that every shareholder must speak out when it matters most. Regulators are not helping us. They must wake up to do the needful, not to kill the company. Where they need to be cautious, you caution, not to kill us. So that's very important, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate us that we have put that behind us and we're moving forward by God's grace. Chairman, God will strengthen you and empower the board to do the needful, and which they have been doing. God bless all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will take Dr. last question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dr. Farouk Umar, President, Association for the Advancement of the Rights of Nigerian Shareholders. Chairman, let me begin by commending you for bringing 2 women on the board. We are still short of 20% because the requirement is that we should have 40%. But this is a healthy development, Mr. Chairman. And I hope and pray that by next year, or whenever we have a casual vacancy, you should fill it with a lady. Mr. Chairman, I also want to commend the board, management, and staff of our company. Mr. Chairman, those of us who were around as shareholders since the time of Unipetrol, today we are talking about 40 years. Oando came and took over and see the development from a share price of 2 naira. There was a time our share price was almost 30 naira. Mr. Chairman, look at this building. So the board and management have done a lot to improve the profitability of this company. And we are really grateful. Despite the fact that we have not been getting dividend, we know why this has happened. And I am sure we have learned our lessons. One of the lessons we have learned is that shareholders must try to resolve issues without necessarily going to court. I am always praying that my brother Mangal will list Max Air on the stock exchange. And now he will see and learn how companies are run and how shareholders will cooperate to ensure that the company succeeds. Mr. Chairman, in particular, I want to thank Wale and Mofe. Like Balogun said, they have been very supportive, Mr. Chairman. They listen to us, they pick our phones, and they have been very close to us. We are really proud, and we thank Allah for blessing us with them on this board. Mr. Chairman, also, we as shareholders must commend Oando because this is one of the few companies that have picked one of us to be a board member. At one time, Benga Idowu was on this board. Other boards do not even recognize that they should have the minority to be represented on the board. I think we should clap them for this. Mr. Chairman, I also want to say that SEC should try to address one issue today. Why are companies delisting from the market? It is not only Oando. Is it over-regulation? You know, I think, the regulators need to sit down and find out and then resolve these issues because many companies, we have so many companies delisting. And it is not good for us as shareholders. We have our unclaimed dividend. Once a company is delisted, now the government, or rather the National Assembly, has approved the setting of this unclaimed dividend trust fund, with Umar Yahya now as the person to head the organization. So it is clear to us, Mr. Chairman, that this unclaimed dividend, sooner rather than later, will go to the trust fund. And we are calling on registrars to ensure that they they look for shareholders and pay them their dividend. Mr. Chairman, the last point I want to speak on is the issue of the insurgency. We are losing a lot of money. I know government is trying. Mr. Chairman, I have to say that I was really happy when I saw Wale with the president. You know, Ashwaju paid him a courtesy call, and I saw Wale there. I was so happy. My wife rushed to say, look at your MD. He is now, they are showing him with the president. So it showed that, I mean, at least, Wale, you are influential today, and by God's grace, you will be influential in the future. You should advise those coming into government to ensure that they bring a good system where they will address the insurgency we are having in this country. In the north, obituary, because I call this insurgency of vandalizing pipelines, is an obituary. And you know, Wale, if you go to Tinkan Island, there is an ash. You should take that ash and put it on that obituary and end this insurgency. Thank you very much.
I will ask the Chief Executive to answer most of the questions along with his Director of Finance, the Chief Finance Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished shareholders. Thank you for your comments, questions, and inquiries. Some points have been made repeatedly, and where they are, I will respond to those issues collectively. Let me start with our first speaker, distinguished shareholder, Mr. Patrick Ajidwa. And indeed, yes, you are absolutely correct. 2018 was ready prior and we're not able to have the AGM due to the SEC ban. We were about to start the AGM. That was halted. Accordingly, once we have the SEC settlement, we immediately published 2018. 2018, we got the approval to appoint the auditors and have hereby presented 2019. And the point you've made is quite clear. 2019, you're already looking to hear as to what is going on in 2020, because 2019 is historical. And indeed, 2019 was affected by the provision we took for the settlement, because the SEC settlement saw us effectively pay out to significant investors in business to the equivalent of $600 million in total left the company towards exiting them from the operations of the business. And what we did was prudently impair the financials of the company, take that into account, hence we went into a loss position. Similarly, 2019, we had the impact of COVID, reduction in oil prices, as well as the reduction in oil production. So the trajectory was a $207 billion loss in 2018, $132 billion. We've already published the 2020 guidance, flow of the exchange, and 2021 sees us back into profit. That will be published once we have the 2020 approved. Then we will be able to, we're publishing 2020 and 2021 together. Shareholders have given us approval to do that. We will now be able to publish, as we had done once the 2019 was made public, we were able to publish unaudited financials on the exchange, and that's been done. The commitment we have to the shareholders is to have all financials up to date by the end of this financial year. We expect to go away and post this meeting within 90 days, be able to hold the 2020 and 2021 presentation of the audit before the annual general meeting, before the end of this financial year. We'll be up to date before the second point that was made, which was also made by Pelano, is the issue of oil theft in our country today. And it is a terrible situation. Nigeria has lost close to 1 million barrels a day of production. At the end of 2019, at the beginning of 2015, we were at 2 million barrels plus a day. By the end of first term of President Buhari's office, we had dropped to only by 5%. However, since then, in the last 4 years, we have seen a 45% reduction. So close to about 800,000 barrels a day has dropped off. And so there has been a very, very extensive and terrible thieving going on in the Niger Delta. Pipelines are being vandalized. There's a constant theft that is occurring. Over 200,000 barrels a day is stolen. And illegal refineries, as you'd have seen on TV, 140 illegal refineries were cleared up in Rivers State for the last 3 months. We have seen Bonny Export Terminal being closed down completely. We haven't had a Bonny cargo, which Nigeria is renowned for globally for the last 3 months or 4 months. And recently, even our terminal, Brass, has been closed down now. So we had zero production today simply because of activities. We had 6 bomb blasts in our facilities for the last 3 weeks. So I receive at least an average of 4 to 5 pipeline theft notifications a day as CEO of the company. This is daily because we have over 1,000 kilometers of pipelines in our network. So there are multiple places to steal from to be so inclined. Serious problem. We're working hand in hand with the NNPC, security agencies, who are making attempts, but there's no doubt about the fact that a serious problem requires a drastic solution, and we are yet to have that drastic solution. Our prognosis is one of hope, but that hope is not underscored by any true confidence in the current situation. Simply prayerful that things will improve. This leads me to the next point, which was in 2019, we announced 2 big wells which we drilled successfully. One produced over 120 million standard cubic feet of gas. The second one produced 100 million standard cubic feet of gas. One produced 10,000 barrels a day of condensate. The other produced 8,000 barrels a day of condensate. Just to put the gas production into context, one of the wells was enough to supply all of the gas that is being consumed. We have over 150 industries taking gas from the former Oando Gas and Power gas link project. Yeah. However, those wells have declined by over 70% in production because every single time we have theft on the line and there's a shutdown, every time there's a shutdown in the well as a result of militancy, theft, spillage, wells lose pressure and the wells are damaged. And so by the time we shut down, catch the people who've done what they've done, we cut the pipeline, repair, weld, we're back to square one again. We have to restart the wells before the pressures under which the well is producing declines. So this is a problem for us. So today we have seen a 70% decline in the performance of those. Only with extended periods of production are we going to have the benefits of the reserve base which we have. And the company has a substantial reserve base of over 450 million barrels of gas in there, which at an average cost, we ought to be able to generate, as we used to do before, over 50,000 barrels a day oil equivalent production. The only reason why we have a problem today is the security situation in the country. So we've gone from 50,000 barrels a day in 2015, zero production. Hopefully we should be able to restart production. There is a security operation going on now. There's also an NBC, the JMD is making a lot of efforts in terms of dealing with host communities and security agencies towards having these force measures lifted in the next couple of days for us to be able to restart production. As of today, I think three of the main terminals in the country are not exporting whatsoever right now. The next speaker, Mr. Nanau, also mentioned the fact that we speak to pages 14, 15, and 17 to the future, even though this is 2019 accounts. This is because the auditors were very thorough, and for what we understand on the accounting principles, irrespective of the fact that your financials are published late, every material transaction that has occurred post the date of the audit needs to be tested. And indeed, went through an extensive test with the auditors regarding all up-to-date material transactions. And where those tests have been mentioned or there are issues around those tests, there was commentary in financial. In terms of policy of tenure, we do have a policy of tenure and 10 years. 9 years, in accordance with the corporate governance rules and regulations. And our board charter in turn replicates the tenure. So we've always operated a tenure in the company, and that tenure has since been codified in the national SEC regulations to do with corporate governance. Mr. Demola Akrede spent 7 years, then resigned. Mr. Sakwe, 7 years. Yanemu Yakubu is 8 years, so yet to reach. Takpasa was 9 years. San Anthony was 9 years when they resigned. In terms of the foundation, foundation used to receive 1% of PBT. We have paid 1.1 billion last 10 years. The annual budget is approximately 300 million. And what the foundation does, pure matching grants from international organizations, national charitable organizations, execute its work. We have taken the pains towards ensuring that our foundation was structured on global practices, independent of the company. Although it's named the Oando Foundation, it has its own independent board of trustees, publishes its own accounts, and is audited as well, separately. And it carries out a range of activities, primarily in terms of elementary schooling. It adopts schools, and it refurbishes the schools. It also provides, other than physical refurbishment, reconstruction, provides teacher training support, and we also provide scholarships. The board has been able to attract quality co-financiers. For example, the Educated Child Foundation out of CASA, which secures a matching grant of $1 million, I think, per annum to the foundation. And they have focused on primarily educating underprivileged females in the north of Nigeria. The focus of that initiative was the north of Nigeria. We also have partnerships with Sumitomo of Japan, and we focused entirely on providing solar panels and computerization in primary schools. And that has also been quite successful in terms of rolling out. And there are other extensive work programs that have been carried out primarily in the IDP camps in the north, where schools are provided in the IDP camps. We've done a significant number of them with international support as well. And because the schools in the IDP camp not just operate as a place to educate children, but also as a safe haven for children to be able to spend time in a creative environment where they are safe morning to night before their parents pick them up. Now, the next point that was raised was the issue to do with conflict of interest between Ike Osakwe, who is in the Audit Committee and is also in the Finance Committee. The Audit Committee, as you are aware, is statutory, and what we have simply done is ensure that we have a bridge between the information flow coming from the company and be able to put color and background to the shareholder reps who exist, who are there and have voted. So we feel that clearly it is in the interest of the company for this to occur. Ike Osakwe is an independent director, and effectively as an independent, he plays the role of running and managing the Finance Committee. The tenure for the NEDs do not exceed the 3 terms of 3 years. The company's board and charter has created a succession plan to this effect. As an independent director, he continues to meet the requirements as an independent under the Code of Corporate Governance. And this exercise confirms the independence and is carried out every year and periodically. So we do believe that it is not a conflict of interest because he's an independent non-executive and he's qualified as play the role, which he does. And it effectively works as a very good bridge in terms of information flow to the Audit Committee. The second point that was raised was, and we do take the point that we should have put the details for the investor relations form, although it's on the website. It's on the website, and we have a very active investor relations department. We also have a very detailed list of shareholder and shareholders' emails, and we do communicate regularly. We get a lot of requests electronically from the shareholders, which we actively respond to. Now, the point was made regarding our borrowings, the issue of a going concern, and what we are doing about this. We continue to focus on reducing the overall borrowings of the company. The borrowings of the company had significantly reduced before, and the reserve-based lending we took for the ConocoPhillips acquisition was paid in full. However, we had to re-leverage the company as a result of the SEC, and because it was literally the only way of ensuring that this SEC dispute could be put behind us, the company be allowed to function, go forward. In terms of material uncertainty, we have recreated a forecast which will see our borrowings lower, and that can only be achieved by a substantial capital equity increase, medium term, so that it reduces our interest burden by 30 billion naira. And that forecast has been done, worked with the auditors towards being able to justify it. However, one of the key areas that creates concern is the price of crude oil, luckily for us, the price of crude oil has remained very high. We're around $100 per barrel. Second thing, of course, second risk is production. And production, we have suffered from, the whole country has suffered from that. And that's the second challenge. Then, of course, the success of the capital raise. So effectively for our restructuring plan to work, all three of these things would need to be sorted out. We are, some we can control, which is the management's capacity to structure the loans like we've successfully done with the banks. Effectively, we've structured our loans with the banks. Second point is the capital raising. We're able to do that. We've raised significant amounts of capital in prior years as a company. And the final thing, not only raise capital, but also return capital to shareholders. And final thing, of course, really is security of the Niger Delta and the capacity to operate in the Niger. Done quite a significant amount of work, and I think these were points made by Mr. Bakari regarding the work that has been done on significant reduction, reduced our unclaimed dividends from 1,650 million. We're down to 763,993,061 naira. And a lot of this work has been done by actively getting shareholders to consolidate their accounts and to update their records. Fortunately, there are a lot of deceased that have occurred who have passed on. Technically, the assets have gone back to their estates, but their estates are yet to update towards ensuring that we can pay these dividends, because checks have been issued, sent to people. Those checks expire, dividend warrants expire without being cashed. So we'll work consistently with the shareholder groups towards being able to see if we can pursue the process. The point was mentioned also about an OVH dividend of 2 billion naira, which is recorded as forfeited in our books. That's because we reached a settlement where we owed some monies, they owed us some monies, and the settlement netted off. Now, I think the final points made by Boniface Okezie had to do with the future outlook in 2020, which I also have touched on earlier. We are in a tough operating environment, also in a very tough regulatory environment, as we saw from the impacts on shareholder value of the SEC settlement. But we continue to strive towards ensuring that we do provide shareholders with a good return long term. It's been quite challenging. The most important thing is that the company continues to meet its obligations. We'll continue to function as a successful going company. Do so and provide maximum shareholder value in the long term. Thank you very much.
I must sincerely thank shareholders who have raised very insightful questions. They are well answered and the other points are well noted. A resolution is not required to be passed on the accounts, but may I request that a shareholder move that the audited financial statements of the company for the year ended December 31, 2019, and the report of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon, as laid before you, be received. Please, your name, please.
Thank you, sir. Kabiesi. My name is Tunde Badmos. I so move the motion as read out by the chairman.
Thank you. Will somebody please second the motion? Yes.
Thank you, Kabiesi. My name is Oweye Olusegun. I second the motion.
Thank you. Before I proceed to the resolutions we passed, please note that in accordance with Section 248 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, I hereby declare that voting at this meeting shall be by poll, except for item 1.6 on the agenda, which is the resolution for the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee, which shall be by show of hands. Since this is an AGM by proxy and the votes on all the proxy forms duly submitted have been collated by the registrars, the registrars will share the voting results on each of the resolutions being proposed. May I invite the representative of First Registrars to explain the e-voting protocol and the polling process, please.
Mr. Chairman, sir, the Board of Directors and distinguished shareholders, the voting will commence as soon as we display the resolution on the board. So if you are with your voting device, you press 1 or A. Hello.
Not working.
Hello. Okay. If you are with our default the voting device, you press 1 or A for 4, while you press B or 2 for against. The resolution will be displayed on the board now, and voting will commence immediately. Please. Oh yeah, can you display the? Okay. Please. What's happening, please? Okay, you can start to vote, please.
Yes.
This is active now. Why? Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Oni. Item 1.2 is to reappoint the auditors.
Not open.
The explanation is not clear. Well, we are going to test it now with the next item. It's not concluded. Mr. Oni?
Hello, sir. Hello. That thing is not active now. What's the problem? Is this, have they voted? The screen people. I think. What is the cabinet? I've explained. Display for voting. I've explained already. Just display.
Item 1.2 is to reappoint the auditors for the year 2020 and to authorize the directors of the company to fix their remuneration. However, on July 13, However, on July 13, 2022, after the date of the circulation of the notice of this 43rd AGM, Ernst & Young, who had served for the previous 7 years, tendered their resignation as the company's external auditors and will therefore not continue as auditors. At this point, I will call on the representative of the external auditors, Ernst & Young, Mrs. Esther Ajibola, to read their letter of resignation. Mrs. Ajibola.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is not a requirement by the law that we should read our resignation here. And in the letter we wrote to the board, we have actually indicated that we do not have any matter that we think will warrant us, communicating with the members of the company or the creditors. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That is the main reason why I wanted her to read their letter of resignation, to show that they have nothing against the board or the management. As you have noted, Esther Young has confirmed that there are no circumstances connected with his resignation which, in his view, will be brought to the notice of members or creditors of Oando PLC. As a result of the resignation of the auditor, this resolution cannot be proceeded with, as it has been overtaken by events. The proxy votes on the proposed resolution would also not be counted. Distinguished shareholders, following the resignation of Esther Young, the Statutory Audit Committee commenced a comprehensive process to identify a successor auditor to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Esther Young. As the notice of this AGM had already been sent out to shareholders prior to the date of the auditor's resignation, we were unable to comply with the requirements of a special notice for the members to appoint a successor auditor at this AGM as required by Section 411, subsection 1 of CAMA 2020. Section 401, subsection 3 of CAMA, however, provides that where at an annual general meeting no auditors are appointed or reappointed, the directors may appoint a person to fill the vacancy. The board of directors have, upon the recommendation of the Statutory Audit Committee, appointed BDO Professional Services as auditors of the company to hold office until the date of the next general meeting where you will be asked to approve. Accordingly, the company shall, within 1 week of the exercise of the power of the directors to appoint an auditor, give the required notice of that fact to the Corporate Affairs Commission as required under Section 401, subsection 4 of CAMA 2020. The next item is the election of Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede and Mrs. Ronke Shokefun, both as independent, non-executive directors of the company. They both joined the board in the fourth quarter of 2021. Observation. Okay, please give him a microphone.
Chairman, I first must say that given that S. & Young in the first place was a sitting auditor, the crisis that we have today is because we put their name. If our notice has read reappointment or of auditors rather than mention of name, would not have been in this challenge. But if we then go the route that you've just suggested, there is also a challenge. Because you then be asking the new auditors
question of semantics, we have noted your observation, but we would also revert to you at the next AGM to approve the remuneration of whoever the board must have appointed. Okay. The profiles of Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede and Mrs. Ronke Shokefun are available on the company's website. I hereby move that Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede be elected to the board of directors of the company with effect from December 23rd, 2021 as a director whose term expires in accordance with Article 88 of the Articles of Association of the company, but being eligible, offers herself for election at this meeting. Will the shareholder please second my motion? I second that motion. Bishop, thank you. You have his name. Yes. I will now call on the representatives of the first registrars to conduct the poll on this motion.
It's working now, sir. Please. In the same thing, please, if you have 4, press A or 1. If you have against, press 2 or B. It's working now. You can comment the voting. What matter comments already? Poll open. You can count that, please. I've seen people, 60 people. Count down. 3 seconds. 1. That's the end of the poll. Please display the results. Chairman, sir, the report is displayed on the board. For the resolution that have been displayed on the screen, we have 9,645,401.34, representing 100% of the shareholding. For those who are present by proxy and by physical shareholder. That is all, sir.
Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. I declare that Mrs. Nana Fatima Mede is hereby elected as an independent non-executive director of your company. Congratulations, Mrs. Mede. I hereby move that Mrs. Ronke Shokefun be elected to the board of directors of the company with effect from December 23rd, 2021 as a director whose term expires in accordance with Article 88 of the Articles of Association of the company, for being eligible, offers herself for election at this meeting. Will the shareholder please second my motion? Baba, okay, Baba. Please mention your name.
I so second. I so second.
Your name,
I'm
please.
Chief Timothy Adesina. Thank you.
Adesina. I will now call on the representative of the first registrars to conduct the poll.
In the first step, please press 1 for support and 2 against. The poll open. Can I please? Please display report. Mr. Chairman, sir, we have 9,645,423,322 which is 100% of the shareholder present by proxy or physical. In favor of the resolution, sir. That's yours, sir.
Thank you. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. I declare that Mrs. Ronke Shokefun is hereby elected as an independent non-executive director of the company. Congratulations to you, Mrs. Shokefun. Please, she does not eat ikokore. You got that wrong. No, they eat egusi. Where she comes from, yes. The next item on the agenda is the election of Mr. Adeola Ogunshemi as Executive Director of the company. He joined the board on the 18th of February 2022. The profile of Mr. Adeola Ogunshemi is available on the company's website. Mr. Adeola Ogunshemi, please stand briefly. I hereby move that Mr. Adeola Ogunshemi be elected to the board of directors of the company with effect from February 18, 2022, as a director whose term expires in accordance with Article 88 of the Articles of Association of the company, for being eligible, offers himself for election at this meeting. Will a shareholder please second my motion? Somebody who has not spoken before. Okay.
I so do, Mr. Chairman. My name is Eke Chibuzo Emmanuel, and he is also a young man. I support that motion. Thank you.
I will now call on the representatives of the first registrars to conduct the poll.
Okay, you can comment the vote results. 1 for 4 and 2 for against. Stand up, please. Okay, result. Mr. Chairman, sir, we have 9,645,530,556, which is 100% of those who are here in physical and by proxy. That's 100% of the voting, sir.
Thank you. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. I declare that Mr. Adeola Ogunshemi is hereby elected as an executive director of your company. Congratulations, Mr. Ogunshemi. The next item on the agenda is item 1.5, relates to the re-election of the following directors who, in accordance with Articles 91 and 93 of the company's Articles of Association, retire by rotation, but are eligible and offer themselves for re-election as directors. Mr. Ike Osakwe, Mr. Ademola Akinrele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Ainoje Alex Irune. The profiles of the directors who are seeking re-election are available on the website and on pages 30 to 34. The re-election of the returning directors shall be done individually. I hereby move that Mr. Ike Osakwe be and is hereby re-elected as a non-executive director of the company. Will the shareholder please second my motion? The person with the mask at the back.
My name is Obina Owusu. I support the motion.
Thank you,
Thank
Obina.
you.
I will now call on the representative of the first registrars to conduct the poll.
Can start the voting, sir. Sama. A 4 and 2 against. Calm down, please. Result.
Election.
Come on, sir. We have 9,645,392 and 368, which is 100% of those who are here physical and by proxy in favor of the resolution, sir.
Yes. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar,
okay,
I hereby declare the motion carried. I move for the election of Mr. Ademola Akinrele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, that he is hereby re-elected as a non-executive director of the company. Will somebody second my motion? Yes. We want those who have not talked at all.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm coming to you. Yes,
Thank you,
please.
Kabiesi. My name is Peter Yanuko. I so do.
Thank you. Will it, the registrar,
Please open the poll.
please conduct the election.
You can start voting, sir, Sama.
Yes, better the three of them.
Please calm down. Result. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Yes.
We have 9,645,453,346, which is 100% of those shareholders here presently and by proxy in favor of the resolution, sir.
Thank you. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. May I move that Dr. Alex Ainoje Irune be and is hereby re-elected as an executive director of the company. Will a shareholder please second the motion? Yes, now it's your turn.
Now that the oracle has spoken, Adio A. Alex is the name, I so second. Kabiti.
I will now call on the registrars to conduct the election, please.
Open the poll. The poll is open. Please calm down. Result. Mr. Chairman, sir, we have a 9,569,1,875,985 units representing 100% of the shareholder who are here physically and by proxy in favor of the resolution, sir.
Thank you. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. To this end, I declare that Mr. I. Kosakwe, Mr. Demola Akinrele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Dr. Alex Ainoje Irune be and are hereby re-elected as directors of the company. The last item under ordinary business is to elect members of the Audit Committee in accordance with Section 404(3) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The following names were sent by the directors and shareholders, having given the required notice of 21 days in compliance with Section 404(6) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 2020. Any nomination not received prior to the meeting as stipulated is invalid. Nominees of the directors are Mr. I. Kosakwe, Mr. Tanimu Yakubu. The company secretary will now give details of the shareholders' nominees for the Statutory Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We received 255 nominations for election to the Statutory Audit Committee. 252 nominees thereafter withdrew their nomination. We therefore have 3 nominees standing for election. The names of the shareholders and their nominators in order of receipt are Olusegun David Oguntoye, nominated by Mr. Matthew Akinlade. Dr. Joseph Ashaolu, nominated by Mr. Tijani Oluwanishola Mukadem. And Prince Dr. Antonio Omoniyi Omojola, nominated by Mr. Okpara Clement Anel Chukudi.
In view of the confirmation that a total of 3 valid nominations from the shareholders were received, and the 3 shareholders nominees are unopposed, I hereby move that 1. Olusegun David Oguntoye, 2. Dr. Joseph Ashaolu, and 3. Prince Dr. Antonio Omoniyi Omojola, having been validly nominated and unopposed, be elected as members of the Statutory Audit Committee together with the directors' nominees, Mr. Ike Osakwe and Mr. Tanimu Yakubu. Will a shareholder please second the motion? The lady at the back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I so second. Okele Yadenike Elizabeth.
Thank you. I hereby declare the motion carried that Mr. Olusegun David Oguntoye, Dr. Joseph Ashaolu, and Prince Dr. Antonio Omoniyi Omojola are now elected as shareholder members of the Statutory Audit Committee together with the directors' nominees, Mr. Ike Osakwe and Mr. Tanimu Yakubu. The first special business we have on the agenda is to deem the general meeting at which the 2019 financial statement will be laid for the shareholders and other business of an annual general meeting as the 43rd annual general meeting of the company. Will a shareholder please second my motion? Yes. Malam Tanimu.
My name is Kabiru Tambari. I hereby second the motion.
Good. I will now call on the representative of First Registrars to conduct the poll. Those in favor of the special resolution, Registrar.
Something, please. This audit committee now.
Use your proxies.
Sorry, sir.
Mr. Oni,
Sorry, sir. Just give us
I'm
2
waiting
minutes,
for
sir.
you.
2 minutes, sir. Sorry, sir. The bowl is open, please. Hmm?
Are you making it? And it's your friend. Eh?
I've been read that now. It's long, you can't take all the screen. So I've been read by the chairman. Okay. Cast down, please. Sir?
Result.
Please declare it up, please.
Please, the result.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairman, sir, this is the result, sir. We have
Announce.
9,645,264,480, which 100% of total of the shareholders who are here by physical and by proxy in favor of the resolution, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oni. Following the announcement of the results by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. The second special business we have on the agenda is to approve the remuneration of non-executive directors. I hereby move that the fees payable quarterly in arrears remain 5 million per annum for the chairman and 4 million per annum for all other non-executive directors. Will the shareholder please second the motion?
Mr. Chairman, there is inflation in this country. And I believe if you want to retain the directors you are having with their caliber, experience, Mr. Chairman, next year you should be looking to review the board fee upwards. Thank you. In view of this, I second the motion.
Thank you, Doctor, for your observation. The Nominations and Governance Committee will look into your complaint. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Doctor, okay, doctor.
He has done it.
Yeah, I seconded the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I will now call on the registrar to conduct the poll.
Please vote. It's on. It's on. It's on already. Please calm down. Result, please. Chairman, sir, we have top voting of 9,645,528,288, which represent 100% of those shareholders who are here physical and by proxy. In favor of the resolution, sir. It's not, it's immaterial. No, one is against immaterial. That's all, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oni. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. The third special business we have on the agenda is to consider, and if thought fit, pass with or without modifications the following resolution as an ordinary resolution of the company. That pursuant to Rule 28 of the Rule Book of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, 2015, issuers rules a general mandate be and is hereby given authorizing the company to procure goods, services, and financing and enter into such incidental transactions necessary for its day-to-day operations from its related parties or interested persons on normal commercial terms consistent with the company's transfer pricing policy. All transactions falling under this category, which were earlier entered into prior to the date of this meeting, are hereby ratified. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Oh, Balogun, okay.
My respected chairman, His Royal Majesty Oba Adedotun, I want to second that motion as read.
Thank you. I will now call on the registrar to please conduct the poll.
Please open the poll, please. You can vote, sir. Calm down, please. Please result. Mr. Chairman, sir, we have 9,569,847,745, representing 100% of the shareholder who are here by proxy and by physical. In favor of the resolution, sir.
Thank you, Registrar. Following the announcement of the result by the Registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. The fourth special business we have on the agenda is to appoint Ernst & Young as auditors to carry out the audit of the company for the financial year ended 2021 as directed by the Corporate Affairs Commission, and to authorize the directors of the company to fix their remuneration. This resolution cannot be proceeded with as a result of the resignation of Ernst & Young, as earlier explained. The proxy votes on the proposed resolution will also not be required. The fifth special business we have on the agenda is to approve the directive of the Corporate Affairs Commission for the audited financial statement for the years ended 31st December 2020 and 31st December 2021, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon to be laid at a general meeting which will be deemed to be the 44th annual general meeting of the company. Will the shareholder please second this motion? Yes, our lady here.
Thank you, Kabiyesi. My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi. I second the motion.
Thank you. I will call on the registrar to please conduct a poll on that.
Please, open poll, please. Poll open, please. Calm down, please. Please, result. Chairman, sir, we have 9,644,973,896 units, representing 100% of the shareholder who are here physically and by proxy, in favor of the resource, sir.
Thank you,
For
Mr.
the resolution.
Thank you very much. Following the announcement of the result by the registrar, I hereby declare the motion carried. There being no further business, ladies and gentlemen, I declare the 2019 Annual General Meeting of Oando PLC closed. I thank you all for your attendance today and the support you have continually given to us as directors of your company. I wish you all safe trip back to your various destinations. God bless Oando PLC. God bless us all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Alaji Tambari will lead us in the closing prayers, after which we will take the national anthem.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم. I pray Almighty Allah to help our chairman, our able CEO, Jibril Adewale Tinubu, to help our directors, to help our companies. The insecurity we are facing in this country, especially in the north, I pray Almighty Allah to intervene on it. I pray Almighty Allah to return us to our various destinations safely. We hope, we pray the next account that the board will present to us to be good and excellent. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghlubi alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
Thank you.